You damn devils will not escape judgment, and neither will you other nations. All right. Call halal Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Ha Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and honors to you brothers, right, who are bringing out this word in sincerity and in faith, risking your lives, risking your freedom to do so. Okay, Yahweh Bashim Yashai, Bashim Rakah Kodash, Barakatham. All right, to you sincere, you hopeful elect, you brothers and you few sisters who listen and subscribe to the teachings of Yahweh Bashim Yashai. So, Slakia, based out of the Wall Street Journal, this is just a really quick update. U.S. and Iran agreed to resume talks on nuclear deal. It says President Sleepy has said he wants the U.S. to return to the deal that the U.S. exited in 2018. Now, if you remember your boy DJT, all right, he had gotten up out of that deal. Now, on the screen right here, you got Rouhani, who's the president of Iran, which Iran really is Persia. So this guy is really is Elam. He's an Elamite, man. And the thing about Elam, acts like he's allies with E, but really he's not, man. And all these talks, you see, for those who can't see it, and those who don't have any faith, they're saying, oh, well, it looks like everything's gonna be normal. Fuck no. All right, excuse my language, but this the time that 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 is speaking about, man. And through the Spirit, lately, you haven't really been hearing nothing in the news as far as warfare and different things like that. So hey, man, we about to see that. Are we gonna see warfare in our lifetime? We're gonna see war, death, and destruction like we've never seen before. All right, so 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm going to start from the top. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Yeah, so the brethren ultimately goes into the elect. Right? It says, ye have no need that I write unto you. So hey, man, the hopeful elect knows what time it is. Like how Jake says in the world, oh, you already know. You already know. You already know what time it is, That's a very common saying that Jake likes to bring up. It says verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So before our Lord shows up on the scene, a handful of things have to take place, including the chip. Okay, and then ultimately the breakdown of society coming after that chip. Once you have the chip coming on the scene, I mean, it could be, literally days after the chip is made mandatory that everything could just break down, For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Woo! So they talking about peace, safety. And see, the guy on this screen, he don't want peace. He don't want safety. Through the Spirit, through the Spirit, he wants this shit to end too. He wants this charade to come to an end. All right, so the article says, and it says, it's 11:44. The U.S. and Iran will take part in talks next week in Vienna aimed at reviving the 2015 Iran nuclear agreement, the most extensive effort to shore up the accord since President Sleepy took office in January, diplomats said Friday. Now, see, this is how you know that E runs the whole world. What is E his counterparts. What's E's red ass doing all the way over in Vienna? Now this is where it gets interesting. As you can see here, on the screen, senior officials from all participants in the accord, Iran, France, Germany, the UK, Russia, China, and the EU, as well as top U.S. officials. In which all of those people, right? Iran has nuclear capability. France has nuclear capability. Germany has nuclear capability. The UK has nuclear capability. Russia has nuclear capability. China has nuclear capability. And basically, a good bit of the EU. Now, you have certain members of the EU who do not have nuclear capability, right? But through, like Germany, France, so on and so forth, basically they do. Even though they don't, really they do, being part of the EU. That's part of that beast. Okay? EU, NATO. Okay, it says will gather in the Austrian capital starting Tuesday. Now, when you look at Austria, right? You look at Austria, you look at Hungary, you look at Luxembourg, and some other places close to there, although they're basically considered nothing militarily. All right, up under Germany, really they are a powerhouse. All right, because you have Germania Major and you have Germania Minor, which basically are two faction. Both of those are two factions of Esau Edom, right? Just like France, just like the UK, just like like I spoke on Germany. Those consist of mostly Edomites. For now, Iran has ruled out direct talks on nuclear matters with the U.S. However, both countries will attend the gathering, which is aimed at breaking a stalemate over Iranian compliance with the agreement and U.S. sanctions against Tehran. So really, they're just saying that, okay, we're both going, right? But it talks about peace and safety. Man, it's not going to go well, man. And even if they say it went well, it's not true. All right, these damn devils have lied about everything. So you think they're gonna come together just last minute and they're gonna come to some agreement? Salakia. A face-to-face meeting between officials from the two countries over the nuclear agreement would be the first since late 2017. Months before the Trump administration withdrew from the deal in May 2018. So it's heating up. All right, what was that? About 3 years ago, okay, this deal was dissolved. And the Lord did that. So now we at the time, 3 years after May 2018, roughly, in which now they're talking about coming together, having peace talks. There ain't gonna be no peace talks, man. All right, President Sleepy has said he wants the U.S. to return to the deal, which placed strict but temporary limits on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for a suspicion of international sanctions on Tehran. The Vienna meeting will aim at drawing up two separate agreements, one with the U.S. and with Iran, on steps they will take to return to the agreement and timetables for returning. After senior officials from the various countries launch the discussions, they will leave nuclear and sanctions experts to hammer out the details of the work. which that's a waste of damn time, man. They're not coming to a conclusion. The conclusion, right, is that Iran is going to continue to do what they do as far as building what they're building. All right, and the U.S. is going to do the same thing, along with these other countries, man. It says the Biden administration is sending it in Slovakia, but that's biblical prophecy, and that's something that nobody can triumph over or sway or bend. The Biden administration is sending a team of experts to Vienna, though the State Department hasn't said if Rob Malley, the U.S. Special Envoy for Iran, will attend. This is a first step, Mr. Malley said Friday on Twitter. Difficult decisions ahead, but on the right path. Over the past few weeks, Washington and Tehran have exchanged proposals through European intermediaries on the initial steps each might take, European and U.S. officials said. But those diplomatic efforts have been frustrated by lingering distrust between the two sides. Yeah, so E don't trust Elam. Elam does not trust E, man. It says the difficulty of negotiating technical issues through third parties and divisions within the Iranian ranks, the official said. Yeah, and that's because you got some of Elam, right? You got a little percentage of Elam who wants to just submit. They want to submit to the so-called white man. They want to go back to McDonald's. They want to go back to Starbucks. They want to go, quote unquote, back to normal relations. Then you have a certain percentage of Elam out there who they're not having it. They're not having it. You see them in the streets, They doing all sorts of stuff. They burning mock representations, of certain people, burning certain representations of certain places, okay? And those places just so happen to be here, man. They burning representations of different countries, particularly ones that this place backs, man. All right? Benjamin Ben Nadegju, Benjamin Netanyahu. All right, they are burning mock effigies. You know what I mean? They stomping on it, pouring gasoline, and you know exactly what I mean, man. They're not rocking with E, cause you can tell that some of Elam is they're going to push that resistance tip, man. They're not even gonna want to come and have peace talks with E. Okay, it says on Friday morning, the remaining participants in the deal spoke via video conference. In a statement, the EU chair of the body which oversees the nuclear accord confirmed negotiations will take place in Vienna next week. The goal is to make headway before Tehran holds presidential elections in June, a milestone that could lead to a new Iranian negotiating team and more delays, and before Iran takes further steps to expand its nuclear efforts and limit international monitoring. And through the spirit, every single time you have another place doing elections, you got the so-called white man trying to sneak his red ass up in there, try to do a coup d'etat. They try to bring in somebody that's pushing democracy. Okay, they try to push that agenda, man. Ultimately they're trying to push the agenda of the so-called white man. All right. A senior EU official said it would likely take weeks to agree on a timetable for the U.S. And Iran to return to the deal, but that he hoped the discussions could be wrapped up by late May. It will take additional time to implement any agreement, meaning a possible full return to compliance with the agreement may not happen before a new Iranian president takes office. So basically they're like, okay, what are you gonna do to us? You know, that's how Sleepy and his crew is thinking. Like, okay, well, we gotta figure this out. You know, before they have their elections, man. Because you never know, through the spirit. All right, you can have a guy who, they could either have the same old, the same guy be president, or they can have somebody new. But either way, it's gonna be all out warfare. Because you could get a guy up in there who's just like, hey, I'm not having that shit that the last guy had. I'm about to turn up. You're gonna have, a certain percentage that's with it, a certain percentage that's not with it. All right. The Lord is putting the spirit on all the nations to divide. Ultimately, the only people that's coming together is the elect of Israel. It says, there are really significant technical and really significant political constraints on both sides, said Henry Rome, senior Iran analyst at Eurasia Group in Washington. I think ultimately there's enough interest on both sides for making this happen, but we shouldn't underestimate the challenge of getting to yes. All right, so they trying to play that snake charmer music. When you got the little dude with the little flute, you see the snake going back and forth. They trying to play that snake charmer music. Yeah, you can't charm this snake. You can't charm E. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, man, see, this devil wants you destitute. He don't want you in any sort of protection. All right, that's ultimately why they're coming up with all these weapons. They want protection. Yeah, you're not going to get carnal protection from E, because he's got that covered. The only way to fight Esau is through the spirit. It says the current stalemate stems from disputes that arose in 2018 when then President DJT withdrew from the deal, describing it as seriously flawed. He called for a new pact halting all nuclear enrichment in Iran, stopping Iran's development of nuclear-capable missiles, and ending Tehran's support for militant groups. Iran began to exceed the limits of the nuclear deal in July 2019, and in January said that it had started to produce 20% enriched uranium. In February, a UN Atomic Agency report said Iran began to produce a small amount of uranium metal, which is barred under the accord. Former officials say those steps appeared calculated to increase pressure on Washington to remove sanctions without collapsing the entire 2015 deal. Sleepy's administration officials have said they hope to use a restored deal as a basis for a follow-up arrangement that would impose more enduring limits on Iran's nuclear activities and deal with Tehran's ballistic missile program. Yeah, man. Which they are gonna keep the missiles, okay? They're gonna keep the missiles. The missiles ain't going nowhere. You think they working tirelessly? A lot of them scientists, a lot of them people that are building these different things, they sleeping 3 hours a day. You think they doing all this, taking all that time away from their kids, all that time away from their wives? See, just like they are they're in a carnal war. All right. Okay. Ultimately, the men of the Lord, we are in a spiritual war. That's why we don't, although you may be around your family, you may be around your woman, you're not really worried about them. You're not giving a shit. All right, because we are in a spiritual war. It's just like these scientists, man. They not seeing their wife. They're not seeing their kids. They sleeping 3 hours a day. All right? Sometimes they don't sleep at all. Iran began to exceed the limits of the nuclear deal in July 2019. Right? And in January, said it had started to produce 20% enriched uranium, which I'm no what do you call it? Engineer, no chemical engineer, nothing like that. But I'm pretty sure you can make some things get to popping with 20%. I'm pretty sure. All right, it says on Friday, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said Iran will only move back into compliance with the deal once the U.S. lifts its sanctions, which that ain't happening. He also dismissed the prospect of direct U.S. talks. No Iran-U.S. meeting unnecessary, he said on Twitter. So he's one of those people that's ready to get it popping. All right. It says in the 2 months that Mr. Biden has held office, the talks have been through a series of dizzying twists and turns. European nations that were party to the agreement on February 18 proposed talks at which U.S. and Iranian officials would meet face to face. So you got all these other European nations that are basically, trying to get these two bullies to become friends. Which the big bully is trying to bully the little bully. And now you got these European nations who are also bullies trying to get them to come together and be friends. That's not how it's happening, E. And that's not how it's happening, Elam. All right? Neither of y'all are up next. Neither of y'all are going to push forward an agenda for peace. All right? And even if you try, the Lord isn't going to allow that. But the Iranians refused to meet with the Americans, saying that initial steps to revive the agreement, formerly known as the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, should be agreed upon first. So there you go. So, E is trying to buy them off. Okay, $1 billion. Pfft, what's that? That's not shit. All right, did we not pass a $1.2 trillion, right? COV package? Come on, man.